My very special guest tonight is a Grammy-nominated songwriter who has worked with artists such as Madonna, Oakenfold, Snow Patrol, Paul McCartney and Al Pacino. In 2012, he became the singer of the legendary Australian band INXS. He toured extensively with them in South America, Europe and Australia. It's with great pleasure to introduce to you Ciaran Gribbin. Hi Ciaran, and welcome to INNERFM.
Oh, thanks for having me, Angela. Great to be here.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, you're from Ireland. I can tell by your gorgeous accent. But where did you grow up exactly?
I grew up in a little village called Castledawson in County Derry, Northern Ireland. I lived there most of my life until my 20s, where I started travelling a little bit. But it's a beautiful place. I miss it.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. What age were you when you realised or thought you'd love to do music as a career?
Well, I always knew that music was there. You know, from 4 years of age, I can still remember my great uncle playing the fiddle in front of me and stuff, and being sort of infected at that age. But I wrote my first song at like 7 or 9, and bought my first guitar at 12. So,
wow.
And was done my first gig at 15. So it was like there's no real escaping it. There was no real anything else that I wanted to do. It's just a love at first listen, as they say.
Wow, that's fantastic. And what's your process when writing songs, and how do you compose lyrics or melody first?
Well, there's no rules. Earlier on in my writing career, I sort of struggled writing by myself, and I would try to, think that there has to be certain ways of doing things. But as I've gotten older and I've done a lot of co-writes with major writers, I've learned a lot that there really isn't any rules. So, it's simple. I can hear an instrumental piece of music and I'll be able to write a melody or lyrics over the top of it. That's my strength. I can come up with melody and lyrics pretty easily. And I rarely write by myself now. I just love co-writing with people. I just love the whole experience of meeting people. Sometimes you just meet them that day, and before you leave that night, you have a song written and recorded.
Wow.
That's the most beautiful and exciting thing about songwriting for me.
Right, you're so talented. I have a few questions from your fans from around the globe. And yes, and Shannon from Santa Barbara, California asks, what or who is your biggest writing inspiration?
I suppose musically, I've many inspirations. Things that have inspired me. A lot of traditional Irish music was a massive influence on me as a writer. But particularly in my youth, when I first bought my first guitar, a lot of rock music and even heavy stuff like Metallica, and really classic rock stuff like Deep Purple and Zeppelin and even AC/DC, and believe it or not, the INXS. They were a huge influence on me as a sort of a 14-year-old. I got in. I had the Live Baby Live DVD. Or it wasn't even a DVD. I'm not old. It was on VHS. And we used to watch it as kids and absolutely loved it. And I never thought that I'd be standing on stage singing the songs, half a lifetime later. Exactly.
I was just about to say that. I mean, that's amazing. And what would you say is your highest point throughout your musical career?
There have been a few. There's been a few sort of crossroads that just been like, wow. And I look back now and I go, wow, that really happened. Obviously, the INXS was a massive step up as far as live gigs. I'd never done anything. I played big gigs and festivals and stuff, and been on stages with bands like Snow Patrol and supported Paul McCartney, and those were all amazing things. But standing on stage in front of INXS was a huge, massive step up in the live world. In the writing world, I had a lot of success, but the most major success came from when I wrote a song for Madonna as a co-write with Madonna, and that was a hit right across the globe, and it really turned the attention of the industry on me as a writer, and it's been an amazing calling card ever since. I get Grammy nominated, and before you know it, you're an established writer, and everyone's calling you for a change. So that was a wonderful experience. So and I'm still writing, and even recently, having Al Pacino sing one of the songs that I've written with a good friend, Greg Agar. That's been a huge massive thing. You know, to sit in a cinema and watch The Godfather sing a song you wrote is just amazing. You know,
that absolutely is. How did the Madonna one, etc., come about?
It's just a case of being in the right place at the right time. For years, I'd been going in and out of London, co-writing with all of these sort of wonderful writers, and it just was. I was working with this guy called Ian Green, and he's a wonderful guy, and he works with Paul Oakenfold, the DJ, and it's a case of who you know, really. Oakenfold's good friends with Madonna, and he wanted to hear what we were doing, and he played the stuff to Madonna, and before I knew it, you know, Madonna liked the 2 songs we wrote, and one of them became Celebration, and it was the title track of her greatest hits, and the rest is history, as I say. After the Grammy nomination of the song, and it was 14 countries, it was #1, something like that, 13, 14 countries, so that just changed everything overnight as a writer.
Right, congratulations on that too.
Thank you.
So fantastic. Which 2 artists or musicians, one alive, one past, would you like to collaborate with?
Great question.
It's a big one.
I think alive, maybe Van Morrison. He's a Northern Ireland boy as well, and I grew up idolizing him, not just as an amazing singer and performer and a musician and writer, but he's from my neck of the woods, and to have someone of that caliber come from a little street in Belfast go to where he went to, as you know, up there with the greats, he totally is great, and so to do anything with Van Morrison would be amazing. Someone who's not with us anymore, you know, I never really thought too much about that. There's a few people that I really, really love. You know, maybe John Lennon. You know, I think Lennon was not only an amazing songwriter and musician, but you know, and a Beatle and everything that he's done. But he was he led a revolution. Basically, he just changed people's minds on how, you know, society was, and he really asked the tough questions, and you know, he was so ahead of his time. So just to be able to sit in a room with someone of that caliber and write a song would be just, you know, life changing.
Right.
So
yeah. And Christy from Jacksonville, Florida, has asked, will we ever hear any more from the Uncontested project?
I don't know, to be honest, and it's a cool project that I got involved in with a friend in Northern Ireland called Conor McCrainer, and you know, the concept, for people that wouldn't be familiar with it, it isn't well known, but it's a really unique concept in that Conor and I co-wrote the songs together, and then we brought in an animator who done all these beautiful animations to the songs that move with the songs, and it's set in an imaginary town. It's this website, and each song and each person in the town has got its own story, and song that tells the story along with the animation. So it's quite a unique project. I would love to do more with it, and I actually think it's something that could be interesting for artists to get involved in the future. You basically, instead of releasing the album as we know it, you basically have a website where each song tells a story, and there's a video or animation, and it's in a town or a village or something. I think it's a wonderful concept. So yeah, I wouldn't rule it out in any stretch of imagination. It's just that it's not easy with me living now in Sydney, and between Sydney and LA, I rarely have time to do much work when I get back to Ireland. I just like going home there and chilling out and hanging with the family.
Yeah, for sure. What age were you when you moved to Australia?
I'm 39 next in a couple of weeks, so I was probably 35. I think it was 35 when I moved here.
Really?
I first came here when I was probably about 33, and that's when I first met Andrew Farris from INXS. And we hit it off at a party and became friends well before I was singing with INXS, and I think that's where, you know, and we still are friends. And in fact, I'm friends and close with all the guys in INXS. I was hanging out with John Farris a couple of days ago, and it was great. They're still my mates, and so I think that's the beautiful thing about the whole INXS experience for me. Not only is it a genuine honour to sing with the great band, but it's to have these guys as friends, even though we're not touring or doing anything really with INXS. We're still friendly, and if we want to, we can write a song together, which we do, and you know, who knows, maybe sometime down the line we might do something.
Yep.
Might not be INXS, but we might do something musical together. But I regularly see the guys and love them like brothers.
Wow, that's fantastic.